What's up, fellas? In today's video, I'm going to rant about the Sacramento Kings a little bit. This is a team that's lost 4 in a row. They lost 6 of the last 7, and I'm just a little bit frustrated with them. I don't see a direction on this roster. I don't see a lot of decisiveness with what they want to do. And that decisiveness is something I'm going to bring to the table right here. We're going to be really, really honest about what exactly is going on there in Sacramento in today's video. But really quickly before we get started, if you're new here, what's up? My name's Tucker. I upload NBA content on this channel every single day, twice a day. So if you're looking for super consistent NBA content, this is a great place to be. You can also leave a like rating on the video as well if you're enjoying the content. It doesn't take very long and it really helps me out a ton. It helps the video get out to more people on YouTube. I would really appreciate that. And you can check me out at various socials at the bottom of the screen. Then a link tree down in the description below has every single social media that I have in that link down below. With those things said, let's talk about Sacramento. So as I said, they've lost 4 in a row. They've lost 6 of their last 7, and there are so many problems here. I'm going to try and get to every single one of them that I'm really, really passionate about here in this video. So the first point here is, it's pretty clear, Luke Walton is probably not the guy. I think I made a prediction before the year that Luke Walton was going to get canned before 20 games into the season. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens pretty soon. I just don't understand, whether it be last year playing at a slow pace or this year, just, I don't know. I know they've had issues because Halliburton has been hurt and every team has been having weird roster issues, but for whatever reason, Sacramento is just continually frustrating because there is talent here, right? And there are 3 guys that are relevant to this roster and to the future of this roster. But it's frustrating when those guys don't get maybe as many opportunities as they should, or they're still trying to be something that they're not, I guess is my biggest frustration. And that begins with Luke Walton, that begins with the play style, but that also is about the roster. Like I said, there's only 3 relevant players here. It's De'Aaron Fox, it's Tyrese Halliburton, who I love and has been awesome. I think everybody that watches the NBA loves Tyrese Halliburton right now. And then I think Marvin Bagley is still relevant, whether that be if you want to move him and get something or as an actual player. I still think that he is incredibly, incredibly talented. And I think those are the 3 really relevant players. Everybody else, I don't really care about, like Harrison Barnes, Buddy Hield, even Richaun Holmes. Go get value for those guys and focus on the 3 players that actually matter. Why are we trying to pretend that Sacramento is something that they're not, which is like a real Western Conference team? You're not. You're one of the worst teams in the West, and that's where you're going to stay. You're going to have a bottom 3 record in the West, and that's the end of the story. Move on, find a new coach, and do something with this roster that actually makes sense. Go and get value for Buddy Hield, who I think does have value. He's a good shooter, and he can fit in a couple of different situations that would be really conducive to his skill set. But that is not Sacramento. And as long as Tyrese Halliburton is healthy, he should be starting. He should be getting as many opportunities as he can. And that's going to be continually hindered by the fact that Buddy Hield is there. And if this team was a 500 or better team, it'd be different. I'd say, you know what? Develop Halliburton off the bench because there's an immediate thing to focus on here. There's nothing to focus on in an immediate sense here in Sacramento. You're bad. Just admit that you are not a good basketball team and lean into that. Same thing with Harrison Barnes. He's 29 years old. He's a fine player. He can do some things, right? You know who else he can do some things for? A team that's actually decent and a team that is looking for a guy on the wing that provides him some size, can shoot a little bit, can score a little bit. There are 20 teams in the league that need a guy like that could maybe convince themselves that they can actually do something this season. So call around, make a move, trade Harrison Barnes, trade Buddy Hield. And the other one that you might be surprised I mentioned here was Richaun Holmes, because everybody loves Richaun Holmes, and I do as well. But here's my problem. One, I know that Marvin Bagley has a higher ceiling than Richaun Holmes, and I want to see what he can do with as many opportunities as I can give Marvin Bagley. I'm force-feeding him those opportunities, and I'm hoping he takes advantage. And 2, Richaun Holmes needs a new contract at the end of the season anyway. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's going to be a relatively valuable player. I'm not interested, if I'm Sacramento and paying Richaun Holmes $10 to $15 million a year for the next couple of seasons when my roster isn't any good anyway, and I have a very clear high-ceiling replacement for him in Marvin Bagley. You know what else I know? I know that there are teams that don't care about that around the league, and they will move something for really quality athletic big in Richaun Holmes. I can promise you that if you called Brooklyn right now and you were like, hey, what do you guys want for Richaun Holmes? They would give you Landry Shamet. They would give you every second round pick they could possibly give you. They would find a way to be desperate enough to make something happen so they can have another quality big on the roster. I can promise you there are teams out there that would be really interested in Richaun Holmes. And as it relates to Barnes and Hield, I would be calling Boston every single day, asking them if they're interested in either of those players and fitting them into the trade exception. And I don't even need a ton of value back for either of them because I know that that's the most realistic place for them to go as it relates to the money that they're going to be making. But I would literally be calling them every single day, asking them, hey, what would it take to fit them into the trade exception? You guys send us back a young player and that's it. I'm good. And I would imagine Boston would be at least relatively interested in one of those two players, with the exception of the fact that, it would certainly raise their payroll and increase it. But if that's the case, why'd they make the trade exception in the first place? So obviously there's some kind of rationale there in which they might end up using this thing. I would be calling them all the time saying, hey, take Harrison Barnes, take Buddy Hield, because what they need to do here is they need to have Fox, Halliburton, and Bagley improving, continually developing, giving them as many opportunities as they can to be as good as they can, as quickly as they can, while also this season being really, really bad, getting one more legit young guy, dumping some salary, having that flexibility that they could have had prior to this if they'd been better and made better moves before De'Aaron Fox signed this new max extension. He's now going to be making $28 million next year, so that necessitates that you have to move Hield and or Barnes in order to create that flexibility that I'm talking about. You get a big-time player, and then you move forward. If you get, those three guys, you get Fox, Halliburton, and then Bagley becomes literally anything, and then you get one more big-time player at the top of the class, and you have draft capital flexibility as well as salary flexibility, you were good. Moving forward, you're going to be a good, decent basketball team, assuming you find the correct head coach. So that is what I would advocate for above all else for Sacramento, is to strive for competency in the future. There's no point in delaying this any further. There's no point in pretending anymore that you are anything other than a bad NBA team, and a bad NBA team that has valuable players on the roster that might not fit super well with what you're currently doing in a very tough West, but fit really well on other rosters around the league. And there are teams that would absolutely be interested in Holmes, Hield, and Barnes. I don't understand. And I know it's less than 20 games into the year, and maybe you're thinking I'm being dramatic about, their season isn't actually over. They're actually kind of a decent team. They're not good. They're just not. They've, like I said, lost 4 in a row, lost 6 of their last 7. They haven't even been all that competitive in some of these games. And I know. We talk about this in every single video, and there's always someone in the comment section that wants to point this out. I am understanding that the circumstances are incredibly weird. Trust me, everybody in the world right now knows that as it relates to the NBA or just in general, life is weird, right? And there are extenuating circumstances in everything that's happening, right? And that relates to NBA teams right now with missing players and not having guys available. I get that. Even if they had every single player on their roster play every single game, they're not good. They're just not, and they don't have the right coach. And I personally am of the mindset that in life, and especially in the NBA, if there is a problem and you are identifying the issue, it needs to be corrected, and it needs to be corrected in a decisive manner. And the problems that I see on this roster right now are they do not have the correct head coach. I think everybody can see that. They do not have a roster that is conducive to the best long-term outlook for them, which is 2 to 3 years from now being a really good team. And 3, the lack of direction. Nobody knows what's happening. I can promise you, if you ask De'Aaron Fox, hey, what's the plan here in Sacramento? What do you think they're trying to accomplish here? I can promise you, if you ask him that, he's like, I have no idea. I really don't. So that is my biggest issue, above all else, is the lack of decisiveness. I don't care how many games into the year you are. It's very easy to evaluate this team and see that they're not very good and they need to make changes. And that's what I'm advocating for right now. The Sacramento Kings need to make some changes. Get rid of Luke Walton, make some changes on this roster, and prioritize the future. You are one big-time young player away from being one of those exciting up-and-coming Western Conference teams, and Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield and Richaun Holmes are not helping you get there at all. They have value. Move them. Make a change. And that's going to be the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, you can look for more up on the boxes on screen right here, as well as I said, on the channel as a whole. If you guys want to sub, you can also leave a like rating, as I said in the beginning, and check me out at various socials at the bottom of the screen in a link tree down in the description below. With all those things said, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.